everyone, welcome back. Ready for something pretty amazing? Today we're going deep into Al-Fatihah, the opening chapter of the Quran.
It's a big one.
It is a big one, but
Foundational.
Foundational, exactly.
Yeah.
You probably already know, if you're listening, that it's recited in every prayer, but we're going way beyond just the words themselves.
Way beyond.
We're going to explore the deeper meaning.
Layers.
The layers, yeah. And how they apply to, well, you. Even if you're not super familiar with Islam,
Right.
think of it like, we're unlocking the universal power of gratitude.
I like that.
So to do that, we're going to be looking at, the classic Islamic scholarly commentary and also the hadith, the sayings and traditions of the Prophet Muhammad.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating is that Al-Fatihah is considered like a summary of the entire Quran.
Wow.
It covers all the key themes and ideas, really encapsulates it.
So it's like you're getting a sneak peek right into the core
Yes.
of the Quran just from these opening verses. But it's also been called, we were talking about this before, the mother of the book, the cure. Even a spiritual remedy, a ruqyah, right? That's a lot of hype.
It is.
For just 7 verses.
It's true, but it's not just hype.
Okay.
Because Al-Fatihah sets up this direct line of communication between the person praying and Allah. It's about praising his attributes, asking for guidance. It's really the foundation of that relationship.
So let's unpack this a little bit.
Yeah.
That very first verse is Alhamdu lillahi rabbil alamin. Basically, it means all praise and thanks be to Allah, the Lord of all that exists.
Beautiful.
Sounds beautiful.
Yeah.
But what's the real significance here? This alhamd, what makes it so special?
So alhamd it's so much more than just a quick thanks.
Okay.
It's this incredibly deep expression of praise.
Wow.
That covers both Allah's qualities and his actions.
Oh, okay.
So it's acknowledging that he's perfect and the ultimate source of everything good.
That makes me think about all the times I've just said, like, a quick thanks without really appreciating where all the good stuff in my life comes from.
Right.
Like, it's really making me think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, it's interesting that even just the term alhamd is different from, shukr, which is more thanking for specific things that you receive.
Oh, okay.
Alhamd is bigger.
Yeah.
It's acknowledging the source.
The source of all those good things.
Of all those good things, yeah.
That's a powerful distinction.
Yeah.
So not only is he praised through alhamd, but he actually describes himself using this attribute.
He does, yeah.
That's mind-blowing.
It shows you how much value he places on it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, get this. I found some stories and sayings about alhamd from the hadith, which are the Prophet Muhammad's teachings. And there's this one where a servant is praising Allah so intensely.
I love this one.
With such profound alhamd that the angels are totally baffled about how to even record it.
Yeah, they don't know what to do.
Can you imagine, the angels being confused by how awesome this praise was?
I love that story. It shows you that true alhamd.
Yeah.
That really moves you.
Yeah.
Goes way beyond just saying words.
It's like an embodiment.
It's the feeling.
Yeah.
It's the deep gratitude.
Chills.
Yeah.
And then there's another hadith that says the best dhikr, which means remembrance of Allah, is La ilaha illallah, there is no God but Allah.
Right.
And the best supplication is Alhamdulillah. So, it's right up there.
It's up there.
With one of the most fundamental beliefs.
Exactly. It makes total sense when you think about it.
Yeah.
Because by acknowledging Allah as the source of all goodness, you're also confirming that he's the one and only God.
Right.
And that we depend on him.
Totally depend on him. Yeah, it's all connected.
It is.
Oh, and this one's wild.
Okay.
There's a story about one of the Prophet's companions using Al-Fatihah as a ruqyah,
Yes.
a spiritual remedy, to heal a tribal chief who had been poisoned.
Wow, that was a classic.
I know, right?
It highlights how spiritually powerful Al-Fatihah is believed to be.
Yeah, it's not just a prayer.
No.
It's something more.
It can bring healing, protection.
So much more than words on a page, right?
Yes.
So how can all this apply to someone who might be listening right now, even if they're not Muslim? What's the takeaway for them?
I think it's about cultivating gratitude, no matter your background.
Okay.
Al-Habad encourages you to see and appreciate the good things in your life, no matter what your situation is.
So just taking a moment to really be thankful
Yes.
for the things that we usually take for granted, right? Like just having a roof over our heads.
Food on the table, yeah.
Yeah.
All of those basic things.
Those basic things, yeah, and just appreciating them.
That shift in perspective can be huge.
Huge.
Makes you more content.
Yeah, content, okay.
Less stress.
Less stress.
And opens you up to even more blessings.
It's like that saying, gratitude turns what we have into enough.
Perfect, yes. It's about focusing on what you do have, not what you're missing.
Not what you're missing. That's good.
And there's even science to back this up.
Oh, tell me about it.
Gratitude has been linked to...
It's like a superpower.
It is. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Better mood, better sleep, stronger immune system, the list goes on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So tapping into that spirit of alhamd isn't just good for your soul. It's good for your whole body.
Your well-being.
Your well-being, yeah. Win-win.
Win-win.
Okay, now before we get into Al-Fatihah itself, there's that phrase, Bismillah, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. It means, in the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful.
Yeah.
Seems pretty straightforward, but...
There's always more to uncover.
I bet there's more.
There is.
So Bismillah isn't just a saying, right?
No, it's a way of declaring your reliance on Allah.
Okay.
Asking for His blessings and guidance before you do anything.
So it's like hitting the pause button before any action and aligning your intention.
Align your intention, your purpose.
With something bigger than yourself.
Yes, exactly.
That's powerful stuff.
It is.
And it's recommended to say Bismillah before, like, everything.
Everything, yeah. Before you eat.
Before you start a trip.
Before you start work.
Like a spiritual on switch.
I like that, yeah.
I like that too. I just came up with it.
Very good.
But there's even more nuance to Bismillah, right?
There is.
Because it invokes Allah with two specific attributes.
Yes.
Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim, both related to mercy, but with different shades of meaning.
Yes, you're picking up on the subtle details.
I try.
Ar-Rahman is often understood as like Allah's all-encompassing mercy.
Okay.
Extending to all of creation, whereas Ar-Rahim is a bit more focused.
Okay.
It's the mercy specifically bestowed upon believers.
So by saying Bismillah Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, you're not just saying Allah's name, but you're acknowledging His boundless mercy and hoping to be enveloped by it.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
It's poetic.
It is.
Okay.
So we've talked about Bismillah, which is kind of like the intro to Al-Fatihah.
An intro, yeah, it precedes it.
It precedes it. But now let's get into the chapter itself.
Okay, let's get into it.
The meat of it.
You mentioned that Al-Fatihah has other names besides just being the opening chapter, right?
Yeah.
It's often called Al-Kitab, which means the mother of the book.
That's right.
Why is that?
So partly, yes, it's because it opens the Quran.
Okay.
It's where it all begins.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a deeper meaning too.
Okay.
It's called the mother of the book because it's believed to contain the essence of the whole Quran.
So it's like a seed
that
holds the blueprint for the whole tree.
I love that analogy.
I like that one too.
And remember how we talked about Al-Fatihah being like a summary?
Yeah.
This reinforces that it's not just the first chapter.
Mm-hmm.
It's foundational.
Right.
All the main themes, all the principles, they get explored throughout the Quran. They're all there.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got Al-Kitab. What other names does this chapter have?
Well, it's also called As-Salah, which means the prayer.
Oh, okay.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Because you have to recite Al-Fatihah for a prayer to be considered valid.
So the chapter itself is basically synonymous with prayer.
Right. It shows how deeply connected it is to prayer. Yeah.
So it's at the heart of that conversation between the
Yes.
person praying and Allah.
Exactly.
And then there's some names that really hint at its power.
Oh, yeah.
Like Ashifa, which means the cure.
Cure, yeah.
And Ar-Ruqayya, which refers to a spiritual remedy.
The spiritual remedy, exactly.
So those names speak to the belief that Al-Fatihah holds this spiritual power
Yes.
that can heal and protect you.
And we see that, like in that story we were talking about.
Like with the poison tribal chief.
The poison tribal chief, exactly.
Yeah.
Was cured after.
Yeah.
That's a really powerful story that shows how much people believe in its healing and protective power.
It's more than just words.
More than just words, like a source of comfort, strength.
Yeah. When times get tough.
So it's essential, like crucial to Islamic practice.
It is.
Do we know anything about how it was revealed? Was it the first part of the Quran revealed to the Prophet Muhammad?
That's a great question.
I try.
While there are stories about the revelation of certain chapters, the Hadith doesn't say exactly when each part of the Quran was revealed.
Oh, okay.
But there is a fascinating story about Al-Fatihah's importance.
Okay, let's hear it.
The Prophet Muhammad said that the angel Gabriel told him, receive the glad tidings of 2 lights that you have been given, which no other prophet before you was given. The opening of the book, Al-Fatihah, and the last 3 verses of Surat Al-Baqarah.
Wow. So Al-Fatihah was specifically highlighted.
Highlighted, yeah.
Alongside another really important part
Absolutely.
of the Quran.
It was singled out.
That says a lot.
It does.
And just to really hammer home how important this chapter is, the Prophet Muhammad also said,
Allah has never revealed in the Torah, the Injil, the Zabur Psalms, or the Furqan, the Quran, a chapter like it.
Wow.
It is the 7 repeated verses that I was given.
Powerful statement.
It really puts Al-Fatihah in a league of its own in Islam.
It does. It highlights its unique status and how much value is placed upon it.
So let's dive into why it's so crucial to prayer.
Okay.
We already know that it's considered a pillar of prayer, meaning it's required for the prayer to be valid, right?
Yes.
But what did the Prophet Muhammad himself say about it?
So the Prophet Muhammad was very clear. He said, whoever performs any prayer in which he did not read Al-Quran, Al-Fatihah, then his prayer is incomplete.
No Al-Fatih, no valid prayer.
Incomplete.
Incomplete, got it.
And he actually repeated it 3 times.
Oh, wow.
To really drive the point home.
Yeah.
And then, to emphasize it even further, he also said, there is no prayer for whoever does not recite the opening of the book.
Crystal clear.
Crystal clear.
But here's something I've always wondered about. We sometimes pray in congregation behind an imam who's leading the prayer.
Yes.
What happens then?
That's a great question.
I thought so.
So when asked about praying behind an imam, the Prophet's companion, Abu Hurairah, said, read it to yourself, for I heard the messenger of Allah say, Allah, the Exalted, said, I have divided the prayer, Al-Fatihah, into 2 halves between myself and my servant, and my servant shall have what he asks for.
Wow. So even when the imam is reciting it out loud, we're still supposed to be reciting it to ourselves silently.
Silently to yourself, yeah. It emphasizes that personal connection with Allah through Al-Fatihah.
Even in a group setting.
Even in a group setting, exactly.
That's fascinating. It really shows how important it is to be actively participating.
Yes.
Even when you're following an imam.
Right. You're not just passively listening.
Right.
You're actively engaged.
And you mentioned that in this hadith, Allah divides the prayer into 2 halves.
He does.
What does that mean?
So the hadith explains that each verse of Al-Fatihah is like a dialogue between the person praying and Allah. So when the worshiper says, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin, Allah responds by saying, my servant has praised me.
Wow.
When the worshiper says, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Allah says, my servant has glorified me.
So every verse is like a back and forth?
It's a conversation.
Wow, that's amazing.
It really is.
Okay, so we get the importance of reciting Al-Fatihah during prayer.
Yeah.
But let's go back to Bismillah, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. Is this part of Al-Fatihah or not?
That's a good question, and there's actually some debate about that.
There is?
There is.
Okay.
Some scholars believe that it is part of Al-Fatihah and should be recited aloud, while others think it's separate and shouldn't be recited aloud during prayer.
Okay.
Each have their own interpretations and evidence.
So regardless of whether it's officially part of Al-Fatihah or not, what's clear is that saying Bismillah before you do anything is encouraged.
Absolutely. It's a beautiful practice.
Yeah.
Connects even the simplest things we do to a higher purpose.
Right.
Like asking Allah for his blessings and guidance in everything.
It's a constant reminder that we're not alone.
Yes.
In whatever we're doing.
We're not alone.
So we've talked a lot about Al-Rahman being at the heart of Al-Fatihah.
Yeah.
But this idea of profound praise and gratitude really resonates beyond religion, don't you think?
I agree. Everyone recognizes the power of gratitude.
Yeah.
It's something universal.
It's universal, yeah.
It doesn't matter if you call it alhamd or just plain gratitude.
Yeah.
Recognizing and appreciating the good things in your life.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
It's like even science has proven how good it is for us.
Right. Mentally, emotionally, even physically.
All those things.
Yeah, there's no denying it.
So whether or not you're, familiar with Al-Fatihah and all these deep meanings we've been exploring, I think we can all benefit from just taking a moment to reflect on the things we're grateful for.
Absolutely.
Because that simple act of appreciation,
it shifts your whole perspective.
It can make a world of difference.
It can.
That's a great point
to
end on for this first part.
Yeah.
So when we come back,
Part 2.
We're going to continue our exploration of Al-Fatihah, looking at the meaning of some of the key verses and the profound lessons they hold for everyone. So stay tuned.
Looking forward to it.
Welcome back. We're diving even deeper into Al-Fatihah.
Deeper.
That incredible chapter that's considered the heart of the Quran.
It's amazing how much depth and meaning
I know, right?
is packed into just 7 verses.
We covered a lot in part 1.
We did.
But there's still so much to explore.
So much.
I'm especially interested in some of the individual verses.
Okay.
Like that powerful line, Maliki Yawm Idin, Master of the Day of Judgment.
Ooh, powerful.
It really grabs your attention.
It does. It's a powerful reminder that Allah is the ultimate authority.
Right.
And that we'll all be held accountable for our actions.
It adds this whole other layer.
It does.
To Al-Fatihah, don't you think? It's not just about praising and thanking Allah, but also recognizing that our actions have consequences.
Exactly. It highlights the balance
between
Allah's mercy, which we see in those attributes, Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim, and His justice.
His justice. So there's...
It's both.
Both sides.
Yeah.
It reminds us that our choices matter.
They do.
And that we'll answer for them.
And that accountability isn't meant to, like, scare you, but to make you feel responsible. To encourage you to,
live a good life.
Live your life with intention, trying to do what's right.
So it's like a motivation.
It is.
To make choices that lead to a positive outcome.
Yeah.
On that day of judgment.
We're shaping our own destiny.
We are.
Yeah.
In a way.
In a way.
Yeah.
It's about understanding the power of our choices.
The power of our choices.
Again, living a life that reflects our values, our beliefs.
This brings us to what many consider the heart of Al-Fatihah. The verse, Iyaka nabudu wa iyaka nasta'in. You alone we worship, and you alone we ask for help.
Such a powerful verse.
It is powerful.
It's considered like the essence of Al-Fatihah.
Yeah.
And some even say the essence of the entire Quran.
Wow.
It's a clear declaration of pure monotheism, acknowledging that Allah is the only one worthy of worship.
Right.
And the only source of true help and guidance.
So it's like the ultimate statement.
It is submission.
Submission and reliance,
Reliance.
Yeah.
It's recognizing our own limitations. And understanding that true strength and guidance come only from Allah.
And it connects back to that idea of dialogue.
It does.
Between the worshiper and Allah that we talked about earlier, right?
Right.
Because in that hadith, Allah responds to this verse by saying, this is between me and my servant shall acquire what he sought.
Exactly. It's like this special agreement between Allah and the person praying by declaring that we only worship and rely on Allah.
Right.
We enter this relationship where He guides and supports us.
So it's like
a two-way street.
Yeah.
We acknowledge His power. He responds by guiding and supporting us.
Okay, so we've acknowledged Allah as the master of the Day of Judgment.
Yes.
And we've stated that we only worship and rely on Him. What's next?
Next comes the request for guidance.
Okay.
Idina siratal mustaqim. Guide us to the straight path.
This is where we're actually like asking for Allah's help. We're asking to navigate all of life's complexities.
Life is complex.
Yes.
So many curveballs, distractions, temptations.
Yeah.
This verse is about asking Allah to keep us on the path that leads to His pleasure.
So it's not just a general plea for guidance, right?
No, it gets more specific.
Okay.
The next verse clarifies it by saying, Surat al-Lazina anamta alayhim, kiremadubi, alayhim waladalim. The way of those on whom you have granted your grace, not the way of those who earned your anger, nor of those who went astray.
So we're not just asking to be guided. Right. We're asking to be guided towards the path of those who have earned Allah's favor.
Yes.
And to be kept away from the paths of those who have strayed.
Exactly. It's a really important distinction.
Okay.
It's not enough to just ask for guidance.
Right.
We have to pay attention to the path we choose.
The path we choose.
And try to follow the example of those who are truly guided.
So it's like looking for those role models.
Exactly.
And studying their lives.
Yeah.
To see what choices they made.
What choices did they make right?
Yeah.
What led them to righteousness?
Okay.
That's what we want to learn from.
So it's an active thing.
It is.
Not just a passive thing.
It's a continuous process.
Continuous, yeah.
We don't just ask once and expect to stay on track.
Right.
It's about constantly seeking Allah's help.
Yeah.
Refining our understanding of what it means.
What it means to be on that straight path.
Yeah, to be on that path.
It's a journey.
It is.
A lifelong journey.
A lifelong journey of learning and growing.
I like that.
Yeah.
Now, we've been talking about some pretty deep concepts here.
We have.
But what I find amazing is how short Al-Fatihah is.
It is.
It's only 7 verses long.
7 verses.
That's it. But there's so much packed into it.
Incredible, right?
It's like a concentrated...
The concentrated dose
Yeah.
of spiritual guidance.
But there's got to be a reason for that.
There are several reasons.
Okay.
First, it makes it easy to memorize and recite.
That's true.
Which is super important.
Because it's part of every prayer.
It's part of every prayer.
Yeah.
Second, its brevity allows for deeper contemplation.
Oh,
You can really unpack each verse.
Yeah.
Explore it on multiple levels.
So it's not just about reciting the words.
No.
It's about thinking about their deeper meaning.
Contemplating, reflecting.
And
lastly, I think its conciseness emphasizes how universal its message is. It speaks to, like, core human experiences.
Yeah.
That we all share.
Okay.
The need for guidance, for purpose, for connection to something bigger than ourselves.
I like that.
Those are universal.
Yeah.
Regardless of your background.
So Al-Fatihah's short length allows its message to resonate with people from all walks of life.
It transcends boundaries. It speaks to the human heart.
We've talked about how Al-Fatihah lays the foundation for prayer.
Yes.
And sets the tone for the entire Quran.
Right.
But how does Al-Fatihah influence a Muslim's daily life?
Good question.
Outside of prayer.
Al-Fatihah's impact goes way beyond just the prayer ritual.
Okay.
It shapes a Muslim's entire worldview.
So like...
Their understanding of their relationship with Allah.
Yeah.
How they approach challenges in life.
So it's a way of life.
It is, yeah.
It's not just a ritual.
The themes of praise, gratitude, submission, reliance on Allah.
Yeah.
These are principles that influence everything.
Can you give us some examples of how this plays out?
Sure. For instance, the concept of Alhamd.
Okay.
That deep sense of praise and gratitude isn't limited to just prayer time.
Right.
Muslims are encouraged to make it a constant state of mind.
So
a way of looking at all the blessings in their life.
Looking at all the blessings, cultivating that attitude of thankfulness.
Thankfulness, yes.
No matter what's going on.
And this constant awareness of Allah's blessings leads to contentment.
Contentment, okay.
Resilience.
Even when you're faced with difficulties.
Even when things are tough.
It shifts your perspective.
It does. It allows you to see the good. Even when things are difficult.
Even when things are difficult.
And the verse, "You alone we worship, and you alone we ask for help."
Right.
That extends beyond prayer, too.
Okay.
It reminds Muslims to seek Allah's guidance and support in everything they do.
Everything they do.
Whether it's a big life decision.
Oh, wow.
Or just going about their day.
Bringing that sense of reliance on Allah.
Exactly.
Into every...
Knowing you're not alone in your struggles.
You're never alone.
Never alone.
And what about that request for guidance? Guide us to the straight path. How does that play out?
That verse encourages Muslims to always strive to align their actions with Islamic teachings.
Right.
It's about seeking knowledge, making ethical choices, doing things that lead them towards righteousness.
So like having a compass that points you in the right direction.
Absolutely.
It helps you make choices that are in line.
In line with your values.
With your values.
And it also encourages Muslims to be like active and positive. Members of their communities, supporting those in need.
Right.
Working towards a more just and compassionate world.
So Al-Fatihah isn't just a prayer.
It's a guide.
It's a guide for living a meaningful life.
A meaningful and fulfilling life, yeah.
And even if you're not Muslim, the universal themes of Al-Fatihah,
they can still have a deep impact.
Deep impact, yeah.
Gratitude, seeking guidance, striving for a higher purpose.
Those are all things.
Those resonate with everyone.
No matter what their beliefs are.
Absolutely.
I'm feeling really inspired after exploring Al-Fatihah like this.
Me too.
We've covered so much.
We have.
From its importance in prayer to how it influences a Muslim's daily life.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up this whole deep dive,
okay,
there's one more aspect I'd love to touch on.
I'm all ears.
I'm fascinated by this idea that Al-Fatihah can be seen as a conversation.
Ooh, interesting.
Not just between the person praying and Allah, but also between humanity and the divine.
I love that.
It's like a universal language.
It is.
That speaks to something deep within us.
That's a beautiful observation.
Thank you.
And I think that's a perfect segue. Into the final part.
Ooh, part 3.
Of our deep dive into Al-Fatihah.
Welcome back to our deep dive into Al-Fatihah.
The final part.
The final part, I know, it's flown by, hasn't it?
It has.
But we've explored its significance in prayer,
Yeah.
its impact on daily life for Muslims, and how it acts as this foundation of the Quran.
A foundation, yeah.
As we wrap things up, though,
Okay.
I want to kind of circle back to this idea that's been resonating with me.
Oh, I'm intrigued. Tell me.
It's this feeling that Al-Fatihah is so much more than just a prayer or a chapter in a book. It's like, a universal language.
I love that.
This bridge that connects humanity to something divine,
That's a beautiful way to put it, and I think it speaks to why it's so powerful.
Yeah.
It goes beyond those cultural and religious boundaries.
Yeah.
It taps into a deep longing that we all share as humans.
Even if you're not Muslim or even religious at all, there's something about the themes in Al-Fatihah that just, it clicks,
It resonates,
It resonates, yeah.
And that longing for guidance.
Yeah.
The desire to connect with something greater, expressing gratitude, praise.
Yeah.
These are all human experiences.
We all have them.
We do.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it has this power to touch people from all walks of life.
It does.
It speaks to that yearning.
For meaning.
For purpose.
Yeah, I love that.
Which we all have.
And the structure of Al-Fatihah, too, like how it flows from this praise and gratitude to submission and reliance, then to a plea for guidance.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Like a blueprint.
A blueprint, a roadmap for that spiritual journey.
Exactly. You start by acknowledging the source of everything good, right?
Yeah.
Then you kind of surrender to that higher power.
Surrender, yeah.
And then finally, seek guidance.
Guidance on that path.
Yeah, to a meaningful life.
Exactly.
And it's not just a one-time thing.
It's not a one and done. Yeah. It's a cycle that you keep coming back to.
You keep coming back to.
Every time you recite Al-Fatihah, you're renewing that commitment.
To that journey.
Yeah, strengthening that connection.
That's like hitting the reset button.
A reset. I love that.
In your soul, right.
And it reminds you that that connection is always available.
Always available, yeah. That's really beautiful.
It is.
So I think that's the ultimate message here, that you're not alone.
You're not alone.
In your struggles.
There's a source of guidance.
Yeah.
Support waiting for you.
That's a powerful reminder.
It is.
So as we wrap up this whole deep dive, I want to leave you with something to think about.
Okay.
Whether Al-Fatihah is super familiar to you, or if you've just discovered it through our deep dive here, think about how you can bring the spirit of this chapter into your own life.
Beautiful.
How can you cultivate that mindset of gratitude?
Oh, gratitude, yeah.
How can you seek guidance in your daily life? How can you connect with something bigger than yourself?
Such good questions to reflect on.
I know, and Al-Fatihah offers a blueprint.
It does.
For that journey.
A framework.
Yeah.
For making those connections.
Yeah, it reminds us that even when life feels complicated and messy.
Which it often does.
It does, yeah.
Life is messy.
There's a path to meaning.
There is.
And purpose.
And it all starts with that simple act.
Of acknowledgement.
Yes, a sincere expression.
Alhamdulillah.
Beautiful.
All praise and thanks be to Allah.
I love it.
Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey into the heart of the Quran.
My pleasure.
We hope this deep dive has given you a richer understanding of Al-Fatihah and the profound lessons that it offers all of us.